Welcome to this health tutorial. Today's topic is all about fitness, the gym for that matter. Now I understand you might have been going to the gym definitely to lose weight and improve upon certain aspects of your appearance. Probably look bikini, get some six packs, look muscular and all of that. But you seem not to be hitting the target. This video seeks to explain the factors influencing weight loss and muscle building. And trust me, if you master these factors, you're going to see a tremendous change. Factor number one to consider when trying to lose weight and become muscular is your genetic makeup. The purpose of understanding this factor is to know whether your appearance is natural or influenced by some external factors, such as mutations or even your diet. In our genetic heritage, half of our genes comes from our father and half of it comes from our mother. Now, the nature of these inherited genes and how they are expressed within our bodies determine the kind of proteins that our bodies are going to synthesize. And these synthesized proteins are involved in muscle building. Part of it, in the form of enzymes, are involved in different metabolic pathways within our bodies. For example, in the breakdown of proteins, the body needs enzymes called proteases. And if an individual, by virtue of his genetic makeup, produces a lot of proteases, then we're going to have a lot of protein breakdown process occurring within his body by a process called proteolysis. And when this happens, we're going to have, rapid degradation of protein continually within his system. And this may even involve proteins of his muscles. So the person will naturally be lean. On the other hand, if an individual, by virtue of his genetic makeup, produces low quantities of proteases, then we're going to have low proteolysis or protein breakdown within his system. In this case, the person will be muscular. The same thing applies to the breakdown of lipids, for example. The body needs enzymes in the form of lipases. Now, if an individual, by virtue of his genetic makeup, produces a lot of lipases, then we're going to have a lot of lipolysis occurring. And when this happens, the individual will have, low fatty reserves in his adipose tissues because of the rapid breakdown of lipids within his system, and he will not be fat. On the other hand, if an individual, by virtue of his genetic makeup, produces low quantities of lipases, then we're going to have a lot of fatty reserves or accumulations within his body, and he will be fat. The same thing applies to the metabolism of, carbohydrates. The metabolism of carbohydrates, what happens is that the excess energy that we gain from eating high caloric foods, especially, or even the little energies or calories that we draw from eating non-caloric foods such as proteins and what have you, when it's in excess, the excess energy is stored within our adipose tissues in the form of fatty acids as reserve to be used in times where we indulge in physical activities that require a lot of energy, or in times where we need high metabolism. So if an individual, by virtue of his genetic makeup, produces a lot of carbohydrates, the enzymes involved in the breakdown of carbohydrates within his body, then we're gonna have a lot of carbohydrate catabolism or breakdown process occurring within his body. Then he will have what? Low caloric reserves, which will lead to what? Low fatty reserves within his adipose tissues. And he will not be obese, neither would he gain weight, and what have you. On the other hand, if you have low production of carbohydrates occurring within your body, then we're gonna have what? High fatty reserves within your adipose tissues, because you have, high caloric reserves. So all that I'm trying to say is that our genetic makeup is the first factor, and the factor that greatly influences our musculation. That's how muscular we look. And it also greatly influences the rate at which we lose or gain weight. So all you need to do is to understand yourself. Try to know whether you are naturally muscular, you are naturally obese, or you are naturally fat, or what have you. This will help you take the right decisions or set the right gym objectives. For example, in my case, I'm naturally muscular. As you can see, this is a picture that I took long before I started the gym. And if you compare with pictures that I've taken after the gym, you would observe maybe just a slight change. Probably my six packs are more prominent or something, you know. So it tells you that I didn't really put in a lot of work to look the way I look right now. But in your case, if maybe you are naturally fat, then it means you have to train, I mean, a lot at the gym. And in addition to this, you have to actually take absolute control, like try to control certain factors apart from just understanding your genetic makeup. You have to master, like, control your diet and like understand also your metabolism and what have you. And we'll get to understand this into details. Factor number two that you must master when trying to lose weight and become muscular is your diet, nutrition for that matter. One thing we should know for sure is that our natural appearance can be altered by just the food we take. For example, if you are naturally muscular like me and you've decided to eat whatsoever, like you've decided to be eating two sugary stuffs, eat two fatty stuffs, and all of that, you can even become obese. But the good news is that during the gym, we don't really need to change our menu, provided we're already eating balanced diet. So in terms of quality, our diet should be proteino-energetic. That's in addition to adequate protein intake. We should also, because proteins, we need to eat a lot of proteins during the gym because proteins are good for muscle building. And during the gym, we have a high breakdown of proteins occurring. So we need to take in more proteins to replenish the protein loss, to also, build our muscles. But in addition to this, we need to eat high caloric foods at the same time because we need energy to exercise and all of that. So in terms of quality, your diet should be proteino-energetic and it should contain, it should contain nutrients coming from the five major food groups. That's cereals, proteins, milk and dairy products, fruits and vegetables, and fats and even sugars. Not forgetting of water. One thing we should know for sure is that water is essential and is good for everything. Every metabolic process that takes place in our body, any chemical reaction whatsoever, needs water. That's why we must take a lot of water, especially during the gym. Now, in terms of quantity, we need to eat more to replenish the loss, because during gymming you need a lot of energy, you need a lot of proteins to build your muscles, you need a lot of vitamins, and all of that. So you should make sure you have to eat a lot in order to maintain weight so that you wouldn't lose the weight excessively. It's not good. And then also build muscles. But there's an exception for people who are obese. You need special diet in order to lose weight. You should try to eat low carbohydrates and less fatty food. That's to say you should eat low caloric food in order to minimize the weight gain. But take this caution, please. No artificial or synthetic proteins are recommended for people with no metabolic disabilities. There is a problem, like many people try to, buy these synthetic, proteins and chemical proteins in the market and stuff during the gym. But I would never advise you to do such as, what should I say, as a biochemist, I wouldn't advise you to take any of these because they are not good for your health. And as you age, probably if you are still young, but as you age, you will start to have certain complications such as renal failures and what have you, simply because these are heavy molecules, heavy synthetic molecules. What all that I believe in is bio, just eat from biological sources. Try to eat, tap from the natural sources. Yeah, you look more healthier and stronger than just trying to eat. And when you look at those who take those synthetic proteins, you actually, when you look at their muscles, yeah, it's not really, something natural. They seem to, look. You just see the muscles, protruding. Sorry to say, but you don't really see them. Becoming the muscles are not, despite the gym, they are not well shaped and all of that. So all that I will try to advise you is that one thing you should know, because these heavy molecules are definitely going to be excreted renally. That's through your kidneys. Your kidneys need to filter them for them to pass through your urine and out. But they are too heavy to be filtered within your kidneys. So if you continually take these synthetic proteins, at the end of the day, you'll have problems, especially when you age. But for people with maybe metabolic disabilities, there are some people may not be able to digest certain kind of proteins, like from the natural sources, the way they are. So they may need some special diet or some special proteins that their systems can digest. But if you are natural, like you don't really have any problem, and there's no need trying to eat, synthetic proteins. You don't need to waste your money buying them. Just eat these natural stuffs. Bio for life. Now, to lose weight by controlling your diet, it's important to know, first of all, your corpulence. In other words, how fat you are. So the question is whether you are obese or not. If no, you need to control your diet as you gym. Eat more proteinous and energetic foods, vegetables, fruits, milk and dairy products, and drink a lot of water as you gym. If you are obese, then you still need to control your diet as you gym. Eat more proteinous and less energetic or fatty foods, vegetables, fruits, milk and dairy products, and drink a lot as you gym. Remember, water, as I said, is everything. So remember to always drink a lot, especially during the gym and even after the gym. So how do you know if you're obese or not? By simply knowing your BMI, in other words, your body mass index, which is the ratio of your weight to the square of your height. Now, for normal body weight, your BMI should be between 8.5 to 25 kg per meter square. So if your BMI is above 25 kg per meter square, then you might be suffering from overweight or obesity. And as such, you should control your diet accordingly. weight loss and muscle building does not only depend on the quantity or quality of food that we take, but also the rate at which our bodies are actually using the energy and the nutrients that we gain from eating the food. And that brings us to a third important factor that influences weight loss and muscle building, and that is metabolism. Now, an individual could either have low metabolic rate or high metabolic rate. With low metabolic rate, the person spends just a little of the energy that he gains from eating the food. And with high metabolic rate, the individual spends a lot of the energy. His body uses a lot of the energy or nutrients that he gains from eating the food. So a quick way to know if you have low metabolic rate is that you don't easily lose weight despite the exercise or the gym that you do. You have low or slow weight loss. Then in this case, provided the other factors are checked, be it nutrition or genetics, then you should be sure that you have low metabolic rate because you are not losing weight rapidly upon the gym. And in this case, you should reduce the intake of high caloric foods, that's carbohydrates, and rather eat more proteins and also practice intermittent fasting. Now, the differences between the traditional and the intermittent fasting is that within the traditional fasting, you stay away from food probably all day. But for the intermittent fasting, you're actually gonna eat your 3 meals per day, as we all know. However, you are not going to take them at your usual time. We try to stay away from food for a longer period of time than we eat. So for instance, you should stay away from food for about 16 hours and eat during 16 hours. 8 hours. The purpose of this fasting is to, reduce the production of insulin, which is the hormone that reduces your blood sugar levels in order to prevent, diabetes and all of that. What happens is that when you eat normally, for instance, during the day, when you eat all day, what happens is that each time you eat, you trigger the production of insulin. When insulin is produced, it tries to lower your glycemic or your blood sugar level. And when your glycemic is reduced, what happens is that it stimulates your appetite, to eat more. It's as if you are lacking food, so you have to eat more. But when you try to stay a longer period without eating food, then it means decrease the production of insulin within your system. And when insulin production is decreased, it means the sensation to eat wouldn't be coming and you wouldn't eat more, and I don't know where you end up losing weight. Now, compared to the traditional fasting, what happens is that you may stay away from food all day. So when you go to eat, you try to eat more because you have starved yourself for that long and you end up gaining more weight. That's why when you observe people who practice the traditional fasting, it doesn't really work for them. They think, okay, maybe by staying away from food all day is what will make them slim, or lose weight. But then they even get, big and bigger. They even get obese. So it's better to practice the intermittent fasting. Assuming, for instance, I always take my breakfast at 6 o'clock in the morning. If I'm practicing intermittent fasting, I could extend it to 10 o'clock. If I used to take my lunch, at maybe 12 o'clock, I could extend it to 2 o'clock. If I used to take my supper maybe at 6 o'clock in the evening, I could extend it to 8 o'clock. In that order, in order to, stay away from food for a longer period of time of about 16 hours and eat for about 8 hours during the 24 hours of my day. And this is important in lowering blood insulin levels, and so as to, help in losing weight. It's very, very important. And when we lose weight, definitely we're gonna get muscular, get the six packs and the bikini shapes and all of that. Now, with people with high metabolic rate, a quick way to know is that they have rapid or fast, high weight loss after the gym or any exercise that they indulge in, simply because they have high metabolism occurring within their bodies. Thus, their bodies spend a lot of the energies that they gain from eating the food. So in that case, you need to eat high caloric foods as well as high quantities of proteins to replenish the loss in order to maintain body weight and also, build muscles. Now, the fourth factor that influences weight loss and muscle building has to do with physical activity. Now, you might be wondering, why am I talking of physical activity when we're actually talking about the factors that influence, muscle building as we gym? I understand gym is part of the physical activities, but the question now is, how serious or how intensive is your exercise or your gym? Assuming somebody lifts 8 kilos every day, or 8 kilos is even that much. Let's say some people just lift the small dumbbells. For example, you lift every day 2 kilos, 2 kilos, 2 kilos. Assuming you are obese, you know definitely that it's not going to have any serious impact as far as losing weight is concerned. So even in addition to, the gym, you could adapt other physical activities. You could play tennis, you could run, and all of that in order to fasten the rate of weight loss.